Hey folks, welcome back. This is the second video in the series for spiritual leadership in the home and how we need leadership. So hopefully you've already seen the first video and you realize the importance of why we need leadership. The second part to that is if you are someone desiring yes, I want to be used by God. I want to encourage my family. I want to follow the biblical blueprint that God's laid out before us. So now, what's the next step? So I would say the very first step is to pray. That sounds so simple. We miss it so often. Remember that God said you don't have because you don't ask. He also says, if you lack understanding or you lack wisdom, ask God, who gives freely to everyone. So that's step number one. Step number two, get into the Word for yourself. I'm not talking about listening to a sermon, listen to a guy on YouTube, that's trying to tell you like whatever else. You need to read it for yourself and know what it says for yourself. Because if you know what it says, then nobody can tell you what it doesn't say, right? Or tell you that it says something that it really doesn't. That's very important. We got so many people in America who sit behind pulpits and tell stuff that's not in the Bible, and they add in extra stuff, this little legalism junk. Look, you need to know for yourself. Know it for yourself. You say, well, how do I know it for myself? Well, that's a great question. And we'll give you a couple of things you can do. Some of them are super easy. I know just digging into the Bible and opening it up and starting at Genesis and reading through, that's a good way, but it does take a little longer that way, I believe. So I believe if you pray and you ask God, the next step that I would suggest is go to your local bookstore and look at some, or find a bookstore close to you, look at some devotions. And don't just pick up the first devotion you see, actually pick it up, read some of it, and find the one that speaks to you. And by that I mean like the one that like me, like this is a help. This has some stuff, there's some content in it that I can use. This was helpful, this is inspiring. Okay, that's number one. Then you cannot neglect Bible reading. You have to get into the Bible. So what I would suggest is, if you do get a devotion, is to take whatever chapter that they have in there, and I would start out with a chapter and say, okay, my devotion today was in Hebrews, chapter 11. So you go to Hebrews chapter 11 and you read the entire chapter. If you really want to dig in, then you read the chapter before, so you know why they're talking about what's going on here. You could even go back if you have a study Bible. A study Bible are good. Remember, those notes are just men, but the words on the page is scripture. But if you go into the study Bibles, you can see, okay, the book of Hebrews, it was written to who? It was written by who, and for what purpose? What's the context? So you kind of see why this book of the Bible is there and its purpose. And then when you're reading chapters in it, it kind of makes sense. Okay, well, this is why it's in here. This is what it's saying, and you correlate it to the time there, and then you apply it to today. All right, there you go. Now then, here's the next one. You can do. You say, I'm busy. I don't have a lot of time. Look, I work 12-hour days. Well, 10 to 12-hour days, and I'm a busy guy. I got 3 kids. I've got a home, church. We got other activities. But listen, you can do this. And another easy thing is find you an audio Bible. Audio Bible, you can go through the Bible in 1 year just by listening to the audio Bible. Instead of listening to a radio station, then listen to the audio Bible going down the road in the mornings, whatever else. Find a place in your routine that you can listen to that. Bible in 1 year, that's a good one. Let's see here. What is the name of the other one? I cannot remember the other one. It's Bible. Bible.org, I believe, is where it comes from. I'll try to find you a link for it. Anyway, but there are some great online Bibles also. So then I would suggest also, on top of that, I would suggest having a family devotion Bible, something that's directed to your family. Young kids, if you have young kids, man, Sticky Situations is a great one. It actually runs through like different scenarios, like Johnny's at school, he sees somebody getting bullied. What should you do? Here's some options. Which one would you do? And then it gives you a verse, and that helps give you the answer for it. And it's a great way to have these little discussions at home. Or family devotion if you have older kids. But just finding something to, God's going to bless whatever you do. Just keep that in mind. So it's not about our words. It's not about our eloquence of speech or whatever else. It's the power of the Word. It's the power of God. It all comes from God. So pray, pray, pray. Pray for your family. And if you'll do this and do it on a consistent basis, you're going to see a huge change. You're going to see things start to change gradually, but eventually you're going to see some huge changes in your family. So I would strongly suggest starting there. Let's see here. And then let them hear you and participate in praying at home. Let them see you reading the Bible at home. And if I can give you this tip, one of the most beneficial things that I've done with my children is when I am wrong, and ask my wife, I am wrong often. And so is going to them and saying, look, I was wrong, I apologize. And that ownership and making it, it's hard to be genuine when you're in an environment where you're being led by Mr. and Mrs. Perfect. Same thing at church. If your church leader can't say that they're wrong from time to time about things, and they're not always right because they're human, right? Because we're all wrong at times. So you need that in order to have genuine fellowship and to have an environment where they feel like they can admit when they're wrong, and they can admit, I'm struggling with this. Why? Because they can talk about those things because you've opened up about struggles in your life. So be sincere, be honest. That's what people need. So those are my tips, and that's what you need to get started. So that's video number 2 in this series, and you can do this, and I'm going to help you along the way. Look forward to the next video. God bless.